Dr. Cori Stern has been helping people restore and optimize their health naturally since 2001. Her passion for alternative medicine grew out of a sick childhood, characterized by a very poor diet, incessant chronic infections, and never ending cycles of antibiotics. At the young age of 15, she decided to take her health into her own hands and began self studying topics like the gut brain connection, toxins, and how diet impacts a person's overall well-being. Later in life, upon realizing her childhood dreams of helping those who suffer heal naturally, she decided to become a chiropractor at 32 and graduated at 37. She now assists people all over the world with overcoming health challenges and advocating for their health care. Dr. Cori Stern oversees a busy private practice where she also educates other chiropractors on how to achieve optimal results with their clients. She's the creator of the Dr. Cori Stern Take Control Your Health channel, known for its bite sized information on a wide range of modern health topics. I'm so excited to have you here. And I know my listeners are going to absolutely love all the information. You're an expert in your field, and this is just a delight for you to be here today.
And I am so excited to be here because this is my favorite topic, stress. And I really, truly feel like an expert, not just because of the many years of helping people deal with it, but also because of my own life, which was not part of my bio, but I'll share some of the really, really crazy, stressful situations that I've had to face since I was born.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how at 15 you were already starting to find out about the brain gut connection. So, what made you get involved and interested in that particular area?
Well, I was sick my entire childhood, and it was mostly due to a very poor diet. My parents were raised on a poor diet. When I say poor diet, I'm talking about processed product. So nobody ate food in my family. Nobody even understood the definition of what food actually is. We just all ate garbage. And so starting from being a fetus, I was fed garbage. And so I was never healthy. And in addition to that, something that I don't talk about publicly that much, but my family life was extremely challenging. My mom was very young, so she wasn't really ready to be a mom. Both of my parents were substance abusers, and I had a younger brother with a learning disability that I had to look out for and take care of. I actually taught him how to read. And my family situation deteriorated. My parents got divorced. My mom ended up marrying an actual criminal, and she ended up in prison. So at age 15, my mom was in prison, and I was living with my dad, who was an alcoholic. And I got sick with a throat infection that just wouldn't resolve. And I was being put on one antibiotic after another, and nothing was helping me. And I was getting upset because I was a teenager, and I wanted to try to have some fun in life, and I couldn't because I was sick all the time. So I just decided that medical doctors don't know how to help you with health, and that I was going to figure it out myself, because that's what kind of person I am. And I started to do some reading, and I stumbled on this magazine called Prevention, which I recently realized is still actually, I don't know if it's in print, an actual magazine that you can turn pages, but it's still online. And it was the only alternative publication at the time. So this is in the mid 70s. I'm about to turn 60. So when I was 15, this was the mid 70s. There really wasn't that much alternative health information readily available. And I stumbled on this magazine, and when I started reading it, I discovered to my astonishment that the reason I was sick is because I was eating garbage, and that there's actually a connection between what you eat and your health. And that was the first time that concept was ever introduced to me.
Wow.
So I just decided to clean up my own diet on my own. I was working as a babysitter, making $1 an hour. I spent all of my own money on food. I eliminated sugar and white flour and chemicals from my diet. And I found a book in my local health food store on herbs, and I studied the book. Like, I was obsessed with it. This book had every herb on the planet, and some of your listeners may be familiar with it. It's called Back to Eden, and it's like the herbal Bible that was written in the 1920s. So I started experimenting with herbs and making my own concoctions. And long story short, I cured myself
Amazing.
of my chronic throat infection, and that led me to have a vision of maybe being able to help other people that way someday.
That's incredible. And, it's horrible that you went through it, but it's made you the person you're into now. And that's absolutely incredible that you were able to, during all of that tumult, find, almost solace in creating healthy herbs and food for yourself. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that.
sure. Yeah.
Now, what inspired you to become a natural health doctor then?
So at 15, I had this vision of maybe having a place where people could come and I could help them with their nutrition and with herbs and help them restore their health. But with what I was going through in my life, I just didn't feel like I could go to school to become any kind of professional doctor. I wasn't really strong in science or math. I felt really intimidated by it. So what I did instead in my quest to help people in some way was I became a social worker, and I specialized in helping families with chronically ill children
Mm.
to be able to get all the services that they needed to keep their children at home, to be able to care for them at home and not have to institutionalize or hospitalize them. And I love doing that. As a, maybe we could say, coincidence, but I don't think there are any coincidences, I ended up at age 23 giving birth to a child with a rare developmental condition myself. So now not only was I in that field helping families, but I had my own child with special needs. So I was very passionate about the work. But I did that for 12 years. And then on my 32nd birthday, I woke up literally in the middle of a midlife crisis at 32 and said, I'm supposed to be doing something else. I want to help people in a broader way. And that day, I went to my chiropractor for an adjustment. And while I was laying on the table, I just looked around the room and I said out loud, I wonder if I can do this, be a chiropractor like you, I said to him. And he said, well, I don't see why not. You're smarter than me and I'm doing it. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. I am smarter than you. So I actually just went right back to my computer after the adjustment, and I found the closest chiropractic school and I applied just like that, really impulsively. But in retrospect, it was the best decision I ever made. So I had to go through all my pre-med sciences. That took me 2 years. So I graduated at almost age 38. And I knew that I live in New York. And in New York, chiropractors can practice nutrition. And that's really what I wanted to do.
Oh,
And
nice. I
so
didn't
I
know that.
opened yeah, it's within the scope of practice in many states, but New
Yeah.
York is very restrictive. So I was just fortunate that that was what I was able to do, and opened my own practice and immediately started trying to apply as much as I knew about nutrition at the time to patients that came in needing help. And as an aside, I want to say that I was suffering at that point with my own health issues. So even with what I had discovered at age 15, I had undergone a lot of stress dealing with my son. He needed 18 major reconstructive plastic surgeries. He was in and out of the hospital, and I ended up regressing as far as my nutrition. I started eating badly at that time, and I ended up with a condition called fibromyalgia,
Yeah.
which basically is pain all over your body and nobody knows why. And I was
Yep.
a mess. I wasn't sleeping. I had headaches. I had chronic urinary tract infections, chronic vaginal yeast infections. And I was in so much pain, even the shower water was hurting my skin. So when I opened up my practice, I was also looking for solutions for my own health issues as well as people that were coming to me for help.
What is the most important lifestyle change people need to make to improve their health, in your opinion?
So I think there's two answers to that. I give them equal importance. The first one is ensuring that they keep their diet nutrient dense and clean. So what does that mean? One, not to ingest toxins. You're already being exposed to so many toxins all over your environment that you don't have control over. You need to control what you can control. And what you can control is what you eat. So I teach people how to find nutrient dense foods grown on small scale family farms that they can actually access no matter where they are. So I'm in the middle of New York City, but I get most of my food from one of these farms.
Amazing.
So there's actually a link, if you want to put it on the show,
Yeah.
where anybody in the US can find the closest small scale family farm with nutrient dense clean food. And outside the US, there's also, I have a link because I help people all over the world. So that's number one, because when you have nutritional deficiencies, you will have symptoms.
Hmm.
So if you're not eating nutrient dense foods, you'll have nutritional deficiencies. And that will lead to not only difficulty handling stress, because when you have nutritional deficiencies, your body and your mind cannot deal with stress the way that it potentially can. But also, you will develop other symptoms over time. That's what leads to illness,
Right.
right? The basis of health is nutrition. So I think that is the most important lifestyle change, is to clean it up. And I don't mean to make it sound easy. It's a process.
Yeah.
We do it gradually, right? And that's what I teach people how to do, one day at a time, eating this instead of that, eating more of this good stuff and less of that bad stuff, helping to reduce sugar cravings because so many people have them, and just eliminating everyday toxins that you don't even realize that you're being exposed to, like maybe your laundry detergent or your shampoo, things like that. But what I think is the other equally important lifestyle change is to really revise the way that you view stress, the way your perception of stress. And this is what I try to train people to do, to not respond to stress the way they've been doing their whole life, right? So people have this habit of reacting to stressful events in a way that's harmful. So most people do that. And you can learn, you can change the way that you respond to it. You can change your perception even of what stress is. So if you don't mind, can I talk for a moment about my definition of stress?
Yeah, definitely. And if you could also kind of share one way that, the listener could actually take that step in their life today to
Yes,
manage it.
definitely, because we want to keep this applicable and functional so that people
Sure.
can use it right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So stress is any event or any thought or any memory of something that feels threatening or dangerous. And so you can have an event that's actually threatening or dangerous, you're crossing a busy street and a car is about to run you over, that's a life-threatening event and it's really stressful. Your body is going to have a stress response, that's normal. That helps you stay alive. Or you could be laying in bed later that night and remember the stressful event that occurred and you have the same stress response. But now you're safe in bed, so you're not actually in danger, right? So number one is to really look at whether or not you're being threatened in that moment, because you can train yourself to respond differently. And I like to use the example of jumping out of an airplane, because two people jumping out of an airplane, one of them is doing it because it's so much fun and the other one is, doing it because their life's in danger and they're terrified, right? So the event itself is not what's stressful, it's your perception of it. So the first thing is to really look at that, right? That's something that takes time. You have to change the way you view what's happening in the moment. Am I going to die from this? Is my life in danger? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Can I control my response to it? So the first and easiest way to control a stress response is deep breathing. Because when you take deep breaths, you are turning on the relaxation part of your nervous system, right? There's two divisions in the nervous system, the part that turns on when you're stressed or when you're in fight or flight mode, and also when you're working and alert and exercising, and the other part that turns on when you're resting, relaxing, sleeping, digesting, and healing. So when you're in the stress division of your nervous system, the active part, your breathing is more shallow. When you're in the relaxation part of your nervous system, your breathing is deeper. So if you just start taking deep breaths, you actually are giving the body information that everything's okay. You're going into the relaxed mode now, and you will turn on the relaxed division. And it works really well. If you just want to try it while you're listening to me talk, take 3 very deep breaths. Try to do it in your nose and out through your nose if you can. And you'll notice immediately this feeling, if you pay attention, a feeling of calm coming over you, right? And that's a great first step to take. And you can do that anywhere, anytime, no matter what's going on, as long as you remember to do it.
Yeah, it's such an important reminder. People are always like, oh, well, of course I breathe. Like that's something I naturally do. But no, when you actually think about it and try and just focus in on it, it really can change the outcome of your stress level.
Yes, and taking really deep breaths into your diaphragm,
Yep,
filling up your lungs, right? So
exactly.
I learned that in yoga, but I was able to figure out how to really help people by getting them to focus on their breathing and just 3 breaths. That's all. It just takes a few seconds. So even if you're really busy or you're in the middle of doing something else, anybody can do that.
Now, what about adrenal burnout? Because
Yeah.
that is super common. A lot of my corporate clientele deals with this all the time. How do you
Oh yeah.
handle and how do you manage that?
So the adrenal glands, for anybody who doesn't know, are little glands sitting on top of your kidney, and they produce some important hormones. They produce adrenaline and cortisol, which are both stress hormones. And cortisol also has a lot to do with your other hormones, your sex hormones. So it regulates a lot of your hormonal system. And they also produce aldosterone, which is a hormone that helps to regulate your salt and fluid balance. So the adrenals actually are very sensitive to salt deficiency. So just starting with that, a lot of people avoid salt because they're told that salt is bad for them and that it causes high blood pressure. So what is true is that bad salt is bad for you. But good salt is good for you, and you really need salt. Every single cell in your body uses sodium. So when you're salt deficient, not only are your adrenals affected, they become nutritionally deficient, but so are a lot of your other body systems. It's amazing how many people I tell just put a quarter teaspoon of good quality, let's say pink Himalayan salt or good quality sea salt, into a glass of 8 ounces of water and just drink that every day. And they come back and they say, wow, I started feeling better immediately. Because when you're salt deficient, you're going to be symptomatic. And one of the symptoms might be adrenal fatigue, where you feel tired all the time, or you get lightheaded when you go from sitting to standing. So that's a really easy thing to do and to address it. But the adrenal glands need a lot of different nutrients, not just sodium.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a video about this on my show where I recommend different nutrients that people can take if they're feeling symptoms of adrenal burnout, fatigue, low energy, poor sleep. And one of my favorite herbs for adrenal glands is called ashwagandha. And ashwagandha is an adaptogen. It means it helps your body adapt to stress. It helps your body adapt to changing conditions. So if you're one of those folks, and a lot of corporate people can relate to this, if you're one of those folks who are always wired but tired, right? That's,
True.
overdoing it and exhausted, ashwagandha will really help you. So I put a lot of people on it. I take it myself because even, I still have a very stressful lifestyle right now. But you also have to address the underlying cause of your adrenal burnout, which is the way you respond to stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's always why you need to have two different approaches to handling stress. One is to correct nutritional deficiencies that you have, and the other one is to change the way that you're handling stress. Which is, neither one of those are a quick fix. They're both a process that you have to engage in. So that is what I help people do. If any of your listeners need specific help with that, I do virtual consults. I'm always happy to help. And I have so many, I would say that adrenal stuff is the number one thing that I'm seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
In this world that we're living in, the world itself is stressful. So in addition to your daily life.
Yeah, it's so true. I think that as people are re-entering the workforce and or actually still doing the hybrid model, being home and then also going in,
Yes.
there is a lot going on in our brains and our bodies too, because bodies still feel stress from the pandemic, even though it might have been 2 years ago at the very beginning. They were locked in one place and then now they're out, and that's scary too. So yeah, it's
That's so
fascinating.
true. I actually had a patient yesterday who I'm helping with adrenal fatigue. And he said to me, I'm so angry at myself for the way I handled the pandemic, the way I used it as an excuse to let myself go. I ate whatever I wanted. I started over drinking. I didn't go out and exercise. I cut off contact with people. And now, fast forward 2.5 years later, he's really in bad shape and
Yeah.
trying to clean up his diet and stop drinking and get back to a normal life. And so many people are going through that. So it has altered, the way that we function in the world. And I think that with some guidance, with some help, and making sure that you're keeping your nutrition really solid, you can overcome that. You can
Definitely.
live the life that you want to live.
Totally. Now, you mentioned about your health channel. I've watched a couple of videos and I'm definitely going to share the links that you were talking about earlier. But what other types of topics do you cover?
Everything related to health, you name it. So I do have a lot of stress videos
Mhm.
simply because it's one of my favorite topics and I'm so good at helping people with it. But I have a video on adrenal burnout. I have one on helping yourself with joint pain and back pain, right? Since I'm a chiropractor, I always have to give a shout out to back pain. And so
Yeah.
many people have it. 80% of the population suffers from back pain at some point. I have videos on how to detox safely. I
Mm.
have videos on how to identify toxins in your environment. So, what you might be using in your house or on your body, the way that you might be poisoning yourself
Mm.
on a daily basis. And before I forget, I want to mention that on my website, drcori.com, I actually have a free PDF that you can download called Everyday Items You Never Knew Were Toxic.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. So, like toilet paper, for example. I mean, it's unbelievable how we're poisoning ourselves without ever thinking about how, what these everyday things, tea bags and, things like
Yeah.
that. And fragrances, I have a whole video on fragrances and how toxic they are and how addictive they are.
Hmm.
And, it's really mind-blowing to realize that things that you never gave a second thought to, you've been using this, detergent, laundry detergent or fabric softener for years and not realizing that not only is it poisoning you, but you're addicted to it,
Yeah.
messing with your brain. I also have videos on fertility, on heart health. If anyone has lost their sense of smell, I have a video on how to restore it. There's a never-ending amount of topics, and I just keep adding new ones because other health issues keep coming up into my universe that I want to teach people about. And one of the things I do is I keep it really simple. So I try to
So important.
explain things in a way that's easy to understand as much as I can. And that's the feedback I get, like, wow, I never understood
Right.
that before. My diabetes video, I literally helped about 50 people reduce their blood sugar just by watching the video. I didn't even
Wow.
ever talk to them or meet them. So I love that feedback. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. I got to watch the smell one. When I was a little girl, you know how there's all those nasal sprays out there, and it substantially reduced my sense of smell because that was what I was told by the doctor to use, right? And shooting that up your nose is not necessarily helpful. And
Right.
all of the toxic chemicals that are in there, it can
Yeah.
really affect you long term.
It did some damage and it constricts your blood vessels. And
Yep.
so they may not ever come back to normal, though I can help you with it. And I had a patient who fell on her face when she was 4
Wow.
and had a severe nosebleed and lost her sense of smell. And now she's in her late 40s. She came to see me, and within 3 weeks, we were able to get her sense of smell back, and it wasn't that difficult. So there's a solution for almost every health issue that is natural, that doesn't involve toxic pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to know who to go to and who to ask for help, because
Mm.
most people in relation to health, in relation to nutrition, in relation to stress management don't have expertise,
Yeah.
right? So if you have a legal issue, you're going to go to a lawyer. If you have a money issue, you might go to an accountant or a financial advisor. But if you have a health issue, what people do is they go on Google,
Yep.
and that is usually not the best solution.
Nope, it's not. No, I always ask this at the end of every conversation I have. And, I know that stress has been both positively impacted you. Look at all the people that you're helping, but it also can take a toll. So I love to ask, how has stress saved your life?
Oh, I have such an amazing answer to that. When I was 10 years old, I was suicidal. My life was so horrible at that time. And my mother being married to this criminal who was a very bad person. And I decided that I was going to find a way to end it all. And I was giving a lot of thought about how to do that. And while I was thinking about it, I also thought about the possibility that there were other children who were suffering similarly, suffering in a bad family or suffering from illness, just suffering. And I said to myself, if I don't kill myself, if I do choose to stay alive, then what I need to do is help other people not to suffer the way I'm suffering. And then I came to that decision that that's what I was going to do. And that actually is what kept me alive all these years, is being able to help others to not suffer. And I keep finding more and more ways of doing it. And now I would say that's my purpose in life. So I guess I discovered my purpose when I was 10 just because of being stressed.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. How can people connect with you?
So I have a website, drcori.com. My name is spelled C-O-R-I, so drcori.com. Very easy to remember. And you can actually click on schedule a virtual consult. You can also email me through that website to ask questions at drcori.com. You can just email me directly. You can join my free newsletter if you want, where I send out health advice every couple of weeks. I don't bombard people with emails. And then I have my channel on both YouTube as well as Odyssey. So it's your choice, whichever you prefer, whichever platform you like better. And that's Dr. Cori Stern, Take Control of Your Health. And I add new videos as often as I can. Hard to find time to do them, but I'm trying to.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your gift with the world. And, I'm just so grateful that you came on today and had a conversation with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you, and you're doing a great job, and you have a great show.
Thank you. Please, everyone, subscribe on Apple and Spotify. You can leave a review for us on Apple. I can't wait to hear your takeaways with Dr. Cori Stern today. It was an unbelievable episode. I know you guys took away a lot. I can just feel it through the energy of this interview. So I hope you all have a beautiful day and make sure to be kind to yourself. Thank you, Cori. I really appreciate it.
Oh, that was so much fun, and you're just so sweet and adorable. I love you. Where are you located?
Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And you can't tell, but I'm actually a redhead.
I I love it. Oh, there
Yeah,
we
I just
go.
turned the light
Yes.
on.
Yes. Redheads unite.
Yes.
No, I really appreciate this. Thank you.
No, me too. And I'd love to stay connected with you because I feel, yeah, I do feel your energy. You have such a warm energy, a warm heart, a loving energy. So I felt good talking to you.
Good. I'm really happy to hear that. I will ask, well, does it have your email on here or is it only your whoever contacted me? I can't remember her name.
Olivia.
Olivia.
It probably doesn't have, let me see if I have I think I might have your email. I can reach out and give you mine.
Perfect.
I like to stay in touch with my
Yeah.
podcast hosts. And I'm going to listen to your show. I'll write a review for you also.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And do you know when you're going to air it? Do you have a date?
It is probably going to be late February.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
post it on all my.
the 22nd, I believe it's going out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look for it and I'll post it on all my social media.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, of course. Let me just see if I have your email here. I don't.
It's Sarah at Live Well Enhance You, but I can also get here, I'll type it in the chat.
Live well enhance you.com. And I'll just send you a quick email.
Perfect.
And yeah,
Awesome.
okay. Yeah, and if you ever want to have me back to talk about any other specific topic, I'm happy to do that. I don't offer
Thank
that
you.
to most people, but
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah.
I really look forward. I'm going to make sure to also send you the video of it so you can repurpose it however you want.
Okay, fantastic. Do you put it on YouTube?
I don't. So I really haven't been doing anything with the videos yet. I just kind of
Okay,
offer it as a thank you for
okay,
doing this. So, yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, I'll post it. I'll post it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Dr. Cori Stern has been helping people restore and optimize their health naturally since 2001. Her passion for alternative medicine grew out of a sick childhood characterized by a very poor diet, incessant chronic infections, and never ending cycles of antibiotics. At the young age of 15, she decided to take her health into her own hands and began self studying topics like the gut brain connection, toxins, and how diet impacts a person's overall well being. Later in life, upon realizing her childhood dreams of helping those who suffer heal naturally, she decided to become a chiropractor at 32 and graduated at 37. She now assists people all over the world with overcoming health challenges and advocating for their health care. Dr. Cori Stern oversees a busy private practice where she also educates other chiropractors on how to achieve optimal results with their clients. She is the creator of the Dr. Cori Stern Take Control of Your Health channel, known for its bite sized information on a wide range of modern health topics.